Hiya, I'm Emily, and I'm looking for voice actors for my Thomas and Friends fan film, Stephen's Trial. Chances are that if you've clicked on this video, you've likely seen the trailer for Stephen's Trial, whether it be on my channel or in May's Express for You presentation. If you're looking for details on the roles available, what I expect for each one, and how to audition, a timestamp is going to appear on the screen right now that'll take you to all that information. But in case you aren't in the know, then allow me to info dump. Stephen's Trial is a Thomasified retelling of the Rainhill Trials, a real-life historical event that took place in 1829. The Rainhill Trials were essentially a series of locomotion tests with an audience, meant to test a series of prototype locomotives to prove the utility of steam-powered engines to the upcoming Liverpool and Manchester Railway, the first intercity railway in the world. It's essentially a prequel to the entire Thomas series, taking place far before the first steam-powered railway popped up on the island of Sodor. The film stars Stephen, a fictionalized version of the rocket and one of the earliest known steam locomotives in history, and follows him as he struggles against the grueling tests of both speed and strength, a rival locomotive by the name of Novelty, and his own internal sense of self-worth. The film will be filmed using the die-cast Thomas toy ranges, primarily take-along/take-and-play, and is planned to be roughly half an hour to an hour long. If you want to get a taste of the general look and feel of this film, please check out the trailer for Stephen's Trial on my channel. Or, if you want, you can take a look at Cycloped, a small prequel short that I made as a test to see how I could manage the general workflow, starring one of the central characters in Stephen's Trial. Just note that Cycloped was made roughly a year ago, back when I kinda didn't know what I was doing, so don't treat it as representative of Stephen's Trial's final quality or anything. Okay then, let's get to the big stuff. If you've watched the trailer for Stephen's Trial, you'll note that some of the voice acting present wasn't the best. Yeah, that's because I did all of those voices myself, some of which I'm clearly not cut out for, and finding talent has been a bit of a pain, which is why I'm holding these auditions. The roles I have on offer are Stephen and Robert Stevenson. I'm going to be going over each character present here, provide details regarding their depiction in my film, and details about how I imagine them to sound. Starting with Stephen. Stephen, short for Stephenson's rocket, is by far the most famous of the Rainhill locomotives, in part due to the fact that he was the winner of the competition, and served as a blueprint for all of Robert Stephenson and Co.'s future locomotives. As such, he's landed himself a spot as the protagonist of my retelling of this historical event. Now, those well versed in their Thomas lore might recognise Stephen, and that's because he's the only character here that's actually appeared in the show. Starting from season 17, Stephen was a recurring character within the series, popping up semi-frequently ever since his debut in the special King of the Railway. Stephen's Trial catches Stephen at the very beginning of his journey. Freshly created for the Rainhill Trials, Stephen is eager to prove himself. He's competitive, brash, and incredibly arrogant. But he's not all that bad. Underneath all of his showing off, Stephen's got a heart of gold, and he's always willing to stick up for the little guy. Due to appearing in the later CGI era of the show, Stephen does have an official voice, being voiced by Bob Golding in both the UK and America.
Bang on time again, Connor. You remind me of me back in my heyday. So fast, I won every race. But did they give up? No, they picked themselves up, got their parts back together and carried on racing like the heroes they were. Hard-working, steam-driven railway engines who like to go fast. Don't be silly, Thomas. I made that bit up. But sometimes you need a good story just to get things back on track again. And it got Connor going, didn't it?
While I'd want his voice to retain the spirit of Goldling's original performance, I'm not looking for a complete one-for-one sound-alike. After all, this is a much younger Stephen, and so I imagine that his voice would sound a lot more youthful and energetic. Here are the lines that I would like you to perform when auditioning for Stephen.
Me? Nervous? Nonsense! I've never felt more excited!
Stephen. No, people just call me Rocket. I'm sure you've heard of me.
If you like yourself that much, then do us all a favour and look in the blasted mirror! Good grief!
Next up, we have Robert Stevenson. Robert is Stephen's creator, son of the famous George Stephenson and Stephen's driver throughout Stephen's Trial. Throughout the film, Robert essentially acts as Stephen's conscience, being the more sensible of the two. He's got a dry wit about him, yet very much cares for his engine's well-being, and is eager to show off his accomplishments in engineering through Stephen. For Robert's voice, I imagine it'd be a bit deeper sounding and more relaxed in comparison to Stephen. Robert was in his mid-20s around the time of the trials, so I imagine he'd sound a bit older than his engine. Generally, my philosophy with Thomas voices is that the engines are allowed to sound a lot more cartoony and outlandish in their vocal deliveries, while the humans' voices should sound a lot more grounded and realistic, and I'd want Robert's voice to reflect this. Here are the lines I would like you to perform when auditioning for Robert. Remember, this is just a demonstration run. You'll still have plenty of time to show off later. I'm not sure what you were expecting, Stephen. You're a steam engine, not a celebrity.
Ugh, you had me worried sick, you know that? Are you alright? Does anything hurt?
Finally, a couple key requirements and details for those interested in these roles. First off, all characters should have British accents. I know a lot of Thomas fan projects tend to opt for American accents with these characters, and that's fine. However, I typically prefer a more British sound when it comes to these British characters. Second, and this is a big one, make sure that your schedule is open enough for long recording sessions. I often like to offer live direction when it comes to these things, so make sure that you're available and willing to take part in these. Furthermore, if you're going to audition, make sure that you have a Discord account. Discord is probably the easiest form of communication for me right now, and it'll be where all those previously mentioned recording sessions will take place. Finally, and this is just kind of a common sense thing, make sure that you have a good to decent quality microphone. The better quality the mic, the better we can hear what you're saying. Alrighty, how do we audition? Well, that's simple. Record yourself saying the audition lines for the character or characters you're auditioning for. You're allowed to audition for more than one. And send it via email to stephenstrialaudition@gmail.com. In your email, please include your Discord and just a short blurb about you. After all, this isn't just an opportunity for me to collaborate with some talented people, but an opportunity for me to get to know some of y'all in a fandom that I'm not all that familiar with. Of course, and this really should go without saying, don't include any personal or sensitive information within your email. I don't want to know where you live or how many moles you have, okay? The deadline for all auditions is the 31st of May, so you have roughly 2.5 weeks to get your auditions in. Recording should occur over the summer months, with additional stuff being requested of you afterwards should any last minute changes be made to the script. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see your audition soon!